The message came 3 days before Christmas. I read it twice before it actually made sense. Don't come home this year. No explanation. No argument. Just a second line from my father. It's better for everyone if you stay where you are. I stared at the screen for a long time. After 7 years in the military, 2 overseas deployments, and more missed holidays than I could count, this was supposed to be the one Christmas I finally spent at home. Instead, my own father was telling me not to come. My name is Emily Carter, and that message was the first moment something felt very wrong. I typed one word back. Fine. Then I turned my phone off and went to sleep. 5 days passed quietly. No calls. No texts. No apologies. Christmas morning arrived cold and gray. When I finally turned my phone back on, the screen lit up instantly. 10 missed calls. All from my family. My mother. My brother. My aunt. Even my grandmother. But the call that made my stomach tighten wasn't from them. It was the last one on the list. An unfamiliar number. The voicemail preview showed 2 words. Law office. And when I played the message, the man on the other end said something that made my heart stop. Miss Carter, we need to talk about your father. I replayed the voicemail twice before calling the number back. A man answered on the second ring. Law offices of Benjamin Harlow. My name is Emily Carter, I said carefully. You left me a message this morning. There was a brief pause. Yes, Miss Carter, he replied, his tone shifting immediately. I've been trying to reach you. My stomach tightened. About my father? Yes. The word landed heavy. For a moment, I expected him to explain why my dad had suddenly decided I wasn't welcome home for Christmas. Instead, the lawyer said something completely different. Your father instructed me to contact you if certain circumstances occurred. I sat down slowly on the edge of my bed. What circumstances? Another pause. Miss Carter, your father passed away 3 days ago. The room went completely quiet. 3 days. Exactly when the message telling me not to come home had arrived. That doesn't make sense, I said quietly. The text came from his phone. Yes, the lawyer said. That's part of the reason I needed to speak with you. My chest tightened. What do you mean? He cleared his throat. Your father left a legal letter that specifically mentions that message. Cold settled in my stomach. What did it say? The lawyer spoke carefully. It said if you received a message telling you not to come home, you should know your father didn't send it. For a moment, I couldn't speak. You're saying someone else sent that message? I finally asked. Yes, Mr. Harlow replied. The words felt unreal. My father left very clear instructions, he continued. If you received a message from his phone telling you not to come home, you were supposed to contact me immediately. My chest tightened. Why? Another pause. Because it would mean someone in the house had access to his phone after his death. The sentence hung in the air. Wait, I said slowly. You just said he died 3 days ago. Yes. That's when the message was sent. Yes. My mind raced. My father had been alive the last time we spoke. A short phone call 2 weeks earlier where he asked about my flight home. He had sounded excited. Proud. Now, a lawyer was telling me the message that kept me away from home had been sent after he died. Miss Carter, Mr. Harlow said carefully, there's something else. I gripped the phone tighter. What? Your father left instructions that you were not to discuss this with your family until you came to his office. Why? His answer came quietly. Because according to his will, you are the only person who inherits the house. The silence that followed was suffocating. Because suddenly the message made perfect sense. I drove to Mr. Harlow's office the next morning. The entire trip felt unreal, like my brain was trying to catch up with something my instincts already understood. Someone had used my father's phone after he died. Someone in that house. When I walked into the lawyer's office, Mr. Harlow stood and shook my hand gently. I'm very sorry for your loss, Emily. Thank you, I said quietly. He gestured for me to sit. Then, he placed a sealed envelope on the desk between us. Your father asked that this be given to you if the message was sent. My fingers felt strangely cold as I opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. My father's handwriting. Emily, it began. If you're reading this, it means someone in the house tried to keep you away. My throat tightened. I suspected they might do this after my diagnosis. The house and the land are legally yours. Not your brother's. Not anyone else's. I looked up slowly. My brother lives with him, I said. Mr. Harlow nodded. Yes. I looked back down at the letter. If they send that message, it means they're afraid you'll arrive before the will is read. A chill ran through me, because suddenly I knew exactly why my family had called 10 times that morning. They thought I wasn't coming. Mr. Harlow opened another folder and slid it across the desk. Inside were the official documents. My father's will. I skimmed the pages slowly, even though the letter had already told me what to expect. The house, the land, the savings account. Everything was listed under my name. Not my brother's. Not divided between us. Just me. That's a lot, I said quietly. Mr. Harlow nodded. Your father amended the will 8 months ago. Why didn't he tell anyone? He didn't want conflict while he was alive, the lawyer replied. But he was very clear about something. I looked up. He believed someone in the house might try to stop you from coming home after his death. My chest tightened again. Did he say who? Mr. Harlow shook his head. No. But he asked me to record the phone activity from the day he passed. He turned his computer screen toward me. A call log appeared. Several missed calls from neighbors. One from the hospital. Then one outgoing text message. Sent from my father's phone. To me. Don't come home this year. The timestamp sat under it. 2 hours after the hospital recorded his time of death. I stared at the screen. Who had access to his phone? Mr. Harlow closed the folder slowly. Your brother was the one who reported the death. The drive to my father's house felt longer than any deployment convoy I'd ever been part of. Every mile carried the same question. Why? My brother Mark had lived with Dad for 3 years. After losing his job, he said he needed time to get back on his feet. Dad never complained. He just helped him. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked exactly the same. The old oak tree. The porch light Dad always forgot to turn off. But something about the place felt different. Quiet in the wrong way. Mark opened the front door before I even knocked. For a second, he looked genuinely shocked. Emily, he said, like he had seen a ghost. I thought you weren't coming. I stepped inside slowly. That's what the message said. His face tightened. Yeah, Dad told me he texted you that. I didn't respond, because now I knew something he didn't realize. Dad had been dead when that message was sent. Mark rubbed the back of his neck awkwardly. Look, Em, it's been a rough few days. I glanced around the living room. Nothing had changed, except one thing. Dad's phone sat on the coffee table. Charging. I picked it up slowly. Funny, I said quietly. The lawyer showed me the phone records. Mark's face drained of color instantly. Mark didn't answer right away. His eyes stayed locked on the phone in my hand like it had suddenly become dangerous. What records? He asked carefully. I turned the phone over slowly, studying the cracked case my dad had refused to replace for years. The message telling me not to come home, I said. It was sent 2 hours after the hospital recorded Dad's time of death. The room went silent. Mark's jaw tightened. You're saying I sent it? He snapped. I'm saying Dad didn't. For a second, anger flashed across his face. Then something else replaced it. Fear. You don't understand how things were here, he muttered. I looked at him. Then explain it. He ran both hands through his hair, pacing across the living room. You were never here, he said suddenly. You don't know what it was like watching him choose you. For everything. Choose me. The words felt absurd. I had been overseas most of the last decade. He left the house to you. Mark continued bitterly. After everything I did for him, the confessions sat between us. You read the will, I said. He didn't answer, because we both knew the truth now. Mark had seen the will, and he thought keeping me away would give him time to change things. But there was one thing he hadn't expected. I had come home anyway. Mark sank into the couch like the fight had drained out of him. I just needed time, he said quietly. Time for what? I asked. He rubbed his face with both hands. To figure something out. To talk to a lawyer. Maybe contest the will. I stood there holding Dad's phone, listening to the same brother I used to build treehouses with try to explain why he had lied to me the day our father died. You thought if I stayed away long enough, I said slowly, you could change everything. Mark didn't deny it. The silence between us was heavy. Finally, he spoke again. I took care of him for 3 years, he said. Every doctor appointment, every bad day, every night he couldn't sleep. There was pain in his voice. Real pain. I wasn't here, I admitted quietly. No, he said bitterly. You were the hero daughter serving overseas while I watched him fade. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I placed Dad's phone back on the coffee table. The house is still legally mine, I said calmly. Mark nodded without looking up. But Dad also left something else, I continued. What? I looked around the room we had both grown up in. A family. And I wasn't going to let a text message destroy the last thing he left us.